Hey everyone, welcome back. Alright, this is the start of the slight spoiler uploads. We're going to be looking at the spoils of the new war. There is no quest or lore spoil in this video, but if you don't want to know anything about the weapons from the new update, then now's your chance to click off. Otherwise, we're going to dive right in. Many of you have asked me to take a look at our new bow toy, and whether or not a similar build to my Daikyu could work on it. Well, I'm here to tell you today that, yes, this bow is busted. This is the second coming of Daikyu, essentially Daikyu Prime. The NATARUK, Voidbane Manifested Artifice mutated into its final form, is a testament to the single target bow category. If you've done the quest already, you know what this bow sounds like, looks like, feels like. It has become my favorite bow already, and maybe it will soon be for you too. Today, we're going to take a look at 4 separate builds for this weapon, each with a different purpose and potential. Let's look at the stats on this thing. At first glance, it literally looks like a slight upgrade to the Daikyu, hence Prime. It has a quick shot, but that's not what we're going to be using for the comparison here. I will mention the quick shot later, but let's compare the normal charge shot to the Daikyu. The Daikyu has 34% crits, the NATARUK has 50%. The Daikyu has a 2.0 crit damage multiplier, the NATARUK has 2.2. The Daikyu's shining stat, status chance, sits at 46%, but the NATARUK still surpasses it at 50%. But that isn't all. So this bow has a unique perk. If you fire it in the final third of the charge circle, the ring will turn gold. A gold shot is a perfect shot. If you let the ring full charge, it will go back to the ordinary red ring, which is a charged shot. Shooting any time before it reaches that last third of the ring results in an uncharged shot, which has the quick shot stats listed here. But this is still important stuff we'll factor in later. This perfect shot differs over the charged shot in 2 stats. It has higher crit chance at 60 instead of 50, and higher crit multiplier at 2.4 instead of 2.2. Perhaps the biggest difference is both kinds of charged and perfect shots have a base damage of 900. Whereas the Daikyu only has 700. Just like the Daikyu though, you cannot hold the charge shot for long. After 3 seconds, it will automatically fire the shot if you didn't. You can get around this by pressing R, which works on any bow to unstring the shot. Also, NATARUK has infinite ammo, but that's mostly irrelevant. There are 3 final things to keep in mind before we dive into builds. The quick shot in NATARUK has forced impact procs, and both the charge and perfect shot have infinite body punch through, meaning it won't hit past objects, but it will still hit through all enemies in its path. Finally, the quick shot shoots a needle arrow. The charge shot and perfect shot increasingly large mini Archiplasmor style projectiles instead. Alright, so let's look at the first build. This one is your basic Galvanized Scope build. It is intended only for charge shots and perfect shots. Galvanized Scope offers 160% final crit chance to charge shots, and 192% final crit chance to the perfect shots. Combining this with critical delay maxes out the final crit chance super high. The charge shot has a final crit chance value of 310. Or guaranteed reds, with 10% chance of hitting a tier 2 red crit. The perfect shot has a final crit chance value of 372, or guaranteed reds, with 72% chance of hitting a tier 2 red crit. This is a basic corrosive nuke build. It is single target, but it has infinite body punch through, so you can launch this down hallways and kill a bunch of enemies easily, especially with the increased hitbox of the perfect shot. Now, why Prime Shred instead of Vile Acceleration for the charge or perfect shots if it has infinite punch through? This is because Vile Acceleration actually makes the bow notch too fast. It will only take 0.42 seconds to fully notch the bow, with the perfect shot window opening around the 0.28 second mark. This leaves you with less than 0.14 seconds to land the perfect shot window, which can be challenging for some. Remember, the perfect shot window is the final third of the ring, but excluding a full ring charge. Prime Shred instead cuts the charge time down to just 0.59 seconds, meaning the perfect shot window has expanded to nearly 0.2 seconds, giving you nearly 50% more error margin in the absolute draw time to land that powerful perfect shot. The time to change targets is much longer than this gap between these 2 fire rate mods, so the actual slower charge rate is inconsequential to TTK, while allowing you to hit perfect charges more reliably. This also means we aren't going to run Arcane Acceleration, because trying to time your charge right when your charge speed changes based on if the Arcane procs or not is horrendous. Corrosive is obvious because it's just a raw damage build. Consequently, this means we're going to slot Primary Deadhead, which has stacks that last longer. But the important part is the 30% headshot bonus, which you will definitely aim at with a bow. Combined with the larger projectile to charge and perfect shots, it's very easy to land a headshot. Vital Sense obviously needs to be present to take advantage of the red crits, and Prime Bane is the flex slot against the correct faction. You could alternatively slot Hammershot here if you hate faction mods. Galvanized Chamber is here because you cannot put split flights on this weapon. The Exilus is empty, but this is because of polarity problems across the 4 builds I'm showing you today. I would strongly suggest you to slot Terminal Velocity here because the shot is slow for a bow. Alright, let's get to the showcase. It's pretty simple, really. Spawn the Corrupted Heavy Gunners, points, shoot. Enough of them die, easy peasy, that's it. If you respawn them with stacks active, all of them die in one shot. And because of infinite body punch through, you can mow them down instantly. The one other interesting thing to know about this weapon is it has infinite projectile lifetime as well. It will not disappear until it either hits an object, surface, or the skybox. Honestly, I don't think I need to show much more of this showcase. It's a basic bow build that makes use of crits and single target damage for nice, pretty colors. Cool. Now, let's look at some other interesting applications of this bow. Since this shoots Arca shots, you probably think it's a good idea to shoot this into Meg's Magnetize bubble, right? Well, that's actually not a good idea. Look what happens when you do this. It deflects off it and goes up into the sky. It's actually not just Magnetize, but any bullet attractor will deflect the Void Arrow. So, Scourge's Alt Fire, Uneru's Magnetize Blast, and Zada's Whisper also? Actually, wait, Zada seems to have the weirdest interaction. This is actually kind of funny. So if you Zada Whisper this weapon and shoot enemies, it still bounces up, but barely, and then the shot just freezes. It's like frozen fireworks. Honestly, it's pretty cool. Most of the time, this is useless, but maybe someone will gigabrain this and come up with a way to turn this into a choke point trap. Anyways, I'm not interested in that today. Let's look at another way to use Magnetize with this weapon. Here is a viral internal bleeding build on the weapon. You may be wondering why internal bleeding. Remember how I said the quick shot has forced impact? So bows have a base fire rate of 1.0 always on the back end, and they require net 75% fire rate bonus from mods, and fail to achieve double mod effect for internal bleeding. So what if the quick shot acts like a normal arrow? Well, that doesn't work well either. While this build here seems like your generic setup similar to a Queller or Chakra, it has another issue. I don't think I need to explain a viral slash build much, but this Prime Shred, I slotted this because the quick shot doesn't have punch through at all, unlike the charged and perfect shots. So if I want this to work in Magnetize, I need to add it onto the weapon. Unfortunately, because the quick shot doesn't have infinite punch through, there is a limit on how many bodies the quick shot can pass through before the arrow disappears. So how well can this build work? Obviously, since we aren't going for headshots, we run Merciless instead. Interestingly, this lowers the reload to 0.0 seconds. This is rounded though, so it isn't truly 0. Because enemies are trapped in Magnetize, we don't need projectile speed. I slotted Vigilante Supplies instead for chances at higher crit tiers. This bow has infinite ammo. I'm only using it for the set bonus. So if I cast Magnetize and shoot into the bubble with quick shots, surprise, my arrows actually go into it instead of deflecting. But the arc and position of where you shoot into the bubble matters. If you shoot it too wide, it will orbit too wide. If you shoot it too close to the middle, it will orbit too tight. You kinda wanna shoot it around the area 3/4 to the right or left. It can proc a boatload of slash this way from internal bleeding. But as you can see, the damage somehow is still inconsistent. This is because the arrow is running out of punch through and disappearing. While you can kill them more efficiently once you gain Merciless stacks, there is now another problem. The projectile is a needle, and can't hit everything in the bubble properly either since it has a fixed orbit once it goes in, so you always end up with a few enemies surviving even after spamming shots. While it does work, I would consider this a very underwhelming comparison to the basic corrosive build I showed you first. So if you want to make a viral slash build with this bow, don't use Magnetize. Use something like Ensnare, or Airburst, or Larva. And instead of internal bleeding, remove it for Hunter munitions. Yes, it's only a 30% chance of slash, but you're gonna get much more damage out of the charged and perfect shots. And this is the best you'll get out of NATARUK if you wanted to slash properly. At these levels, it doesn't really perform any different than corrosive, or is even worse, because the slash true damage bleeds aren't really even needed yet, and the slash inconsistency pales to the absolute raw damage NATARUK can always put out with corrosive at this level range. Basically, I wouldn't expect viral Hunter munitions to pull ahead until maybe the high hundreds to 1,000 or so on the NATARUK. But if you want to kill groups of enemies like this, why not just go back to what I showed you all in the Daikyu video? This is a NATARUK gas build. If it worked on Daikyu, there's obviously nothing stopping this from working on the NATARUK. Pretend this vile acceleration is a primed shred. I just can't fit it due to polarities, like I said. There is one big difference here compared to gas Daikyu though. Well, 2, but the one that actually matters is that Amalgam Daikyu target acquired, the mod that let us double dip headshot multipliers with gas and is even stronger than a Bane, can't be slotted on NATARUK. The normal target acquired mod is a sniper mod, and NATARUK is not a sniper. But there's another way around this. Galvanized Aptitude is on this build. Why? Remember how I said it shoots mini Arcoplasmors? I meant that literally. It also inherited the Eclipse scaling of Guncio that the Plasmor family enjoys. On a build that can proc gas and puncture reliably, this is a 2.6 times final damage multiplier. If you want to use external primers too, this is comparable to target acquired on Daikyu, which gave a final 3.06 damage multiplier. And if you're willing to put primers into the scenario for NATARUK, oh boy, the damage is just gonna skyrocket and surpass Daikyu's multipliers easily. With the inflated stats of NATARUK, even without the primers, the fact that it has infinite punch through, meaning it can proc gas in crowds even more efficiently than Daikyu's non-infinite punch through, you can easily close this multiplier gap. But then NATARUK has one more advantage. I said the charged and perfect shots have larger projectile sizes, particularly the perfect shot. Not only will you hit everything behind the main target with NATARUK, but you can also hit enemies to the side. This allows NATARUK to completely eclipse Daikyu as a gas bow, and absolutely destroys everything it touches. So, if you want the best NATARUK builds, I've shown you 4 separate options today, with varying levels of performance from abysmal to matching AoE primary launchers. Yes, the gas setup still requires ensnare, but also all single target weapons that evolve into AoE require group helmets. So, are you happy with the NATARUK I've shown you? If this is your first time watching, feel free to leave like or better yet subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. 79.5% of you are not subscribed. I'm trying my best to get you new information out always as soon as possible, like I'm now doing for the new war updates. Stick around if you want to see interesting memes and builds on a nearly daily basis. I'll keep pumping out more new war vids non-stop, so you don't want to miss out on any of that, do you? That'll be it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and see you all next time.